We're back with Emily Kane. She's a representative from District 15, and we're talking to her about all the bills that you worked on. We talked about the safe haven, we talked about the electronic citation. Let's go a little bit more into what you feel your constituents, as far as now that you're starting, I think you're starting to talk to them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything specific that you're hearing their concerns besides the jobs, the overall economy?
Mm-hmm. Well, people are real concerned about water in New Mexico, and I think that besides the economy and jobs, I would say you know, the continuing drought, which is weighing on everyone right now, has got people very concerned.
And we have a shortage of water. Ever since we went to the Rio Grande, and we talked about this on my show several times. Mm-hmm. Hector Balderas, he's running for Attorney General. I was bringing up the issue that we're going to see fights with Texas because mm-hmm. ever since we went to Rio Grande, the water from the Rio Grande instead of the aquifers, mm-hmm. We're having issues with Texas. So I think these are the future problems the state's going to deal with. Yeah. What do you feel that we need to go back to the aquifers? Because we're banking right now as far as the aquifers. Do you think at some point we should go back to the aquifers, or you stay with the surface water?
It's a very complex problem, and what I'm learning, I recently was appointed to the Water and Natural Resources Committee, and fortunately there we hear from the scientific community about how New Mexico's watersheds are faring and how the aquifers are doing. You know, you've heard a lot of the conversation. We've got one of our counties that sees a receding water table and now are very concerned. They rely almost 100% on wells for their agriculture. I think what sometimes people don't understand or realize is that in New Mexico, 90% of our drinking water comes from the aquifers. And protecting that water quality and maintaining it and making sure that if it is fully appropriated, it still is kept in good condition, that's a very important issue.
We overtrained them. This is what happened the last few years. Now we're starting to bank. Mm-hmm. We're putting water back in the aquifers. We stopped using that because we were draining it very quickly.
Yes, we were.
And so ever since we went to the Rio Grande, we're starting to put water back in it so we could use it at some point down the road. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll all have to deal with this down the road. When population moves in the state, they always see these issues with water. They end up moving out. So we have a brain drain, and I think I'm familiar with that term. I'm sure they're working on a bill there too. The brain drain. People move here and then they say, well, there's not enough water. We get citations for water, over usage and all that. Sometimes education is there, sometimes it isn't. I think that's the key issue there, I think, for the future. Sure. What other issues do you think the state will have to deal with, say, in the out years, in your opinion?
Well, I think we need to overturn the image that we have of being unfriendly to business. And I think that that's an important issue right now. We made some baby steps in that direction. I was a little disappointed not to see more bills creating jobs come through the legislature. You know, as a junior, brand new person, I thought the leadership would be bringing forward a whole lot of proposals. There were a few. I think we're still dealing though with the big shortfall in the budget, and we have to get over that. Creating the economic stimulus that we need to create with state money. That's another thing I'd like to see us focus upon. We'd like to see, when the state does have money to spend, that it gives preferential treatment to businesses that are located in the state, because it comes back around. Those are the dollars that really repay us for the investment.
I think overall we're reflecting the national economy too.
We are.
You know, nationally, if you look at it, the unemployment is still very high. They're working on immigration. They're bringing ACA, the Affordable Care Act. Any thoughts on the Affordable Care Act? Did you work on the exchange?
I'm just very proud that we came up with a decent bill to create our own New Mexico statute. I didn't think we should sit back and wait until the federal government had developed some kind of milquetoast arrangement. You know, we have different kinds of health needs here in our state. This gives us more of a local voice in how we are served.
Are you okay with the exchange, the way Governor Martinez is setting it up? It was already existing, correct? And then now they're trying to they're trying to use the exchange in accordance with the federal law there, with the federal mandate, which is 2014. Everyone has to.
It's going to be a big departure from the way we had done business. So I'm excited that we are going to have the dialogue with the people that are involved. I think the insurance companies have a place at the table, but I also think that a lot of the advocacy groups as well are going to have their needs heard. Down the line, the consumer may find that the price containment is a little bit difficult at first, and I'm hoping that if we need to weigh in and help with that the state legislature will be in a position to do that.
Healthcare, to me, was always about access. And that's the way most people look at it.
Absolutely.
The access is a big issue, because when you're going to, say, UNM Hospital, and I'm not bashing UNM Hospital, it's working, there's a lot of controversy about them expanding and all that. And they're going to have to, to accommodate a lot more people coming in there and stuff.
Sure.
The way it was before ACA came in, or the mandate it kicking in 2014, everyone ran to the emergency department. I'm sure you dealt with that as a paramedic.
Absolutely.
Right? Everyone running, because they're in the last stages there. If they don't do anything, they end up in. So would you agree with me it has to do with access, and I hope they end up changing? Things
have changed a lot, and you probably noticed that in the last 10 or 15 years that the urgent cares that used to be all around have closed up. They've rolled up the welcome mat and gone home. And that needs to change. And enrolling the 170,000 or 150,000 or however many your numbers are, people in Medicaid will start to help that.
We're going to have to eventually expand the Medicaid.
We definitely are going to work on that really hard and quickly. By expanding that, we can help alleviate that burden that you noticed at big hospitals like at the University of New Mexico, where they will not turn anyone away. But if you look at it from a practical business point of view, it's probably the least efficient, most expensive way to provide preventative health care. Really, that's what people are looking for, is preventative health care, but it needs to be very accessible.
I think so, and whenever I hear people going to emergency care or UNM Hospital, and once again, I'm not bashing them, people always say, I was there for 14 hours, 16 hours. That almost sounds like a third world type of system. Shouldn't we have, I think, would you agree with me they would have to work on that? Because they will have an influx of people going there because they have to be covered now.
Oh, absolutely. You can't have just UNM Hospital be the only provider for emergent health care.
I think so, yeah. We'll take a short break in about a few seconds here, come back. We'll talk a little bit about where you grew up and things like that, so we kind of leave it on a lighter note there,
Sure,
okay?
sure.
And then anything else that you'd like to work on? We'll talk about your firefighter days. You're still working as a firefighter,
Yes.
right? So we'll talk a little bit about that, okay? We'll come back. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.